Hi, my name is Katie Beth Westerman, and I will be discussing what I observed at Pyron Elementary School and how it related to the things I was learning in my Human Development and Learning Theories class. Pyron Elementary is in Clarksville, Arkansas, and the elementary school ranges from grades 2 to 4, and I observed with the second grade. This is an example of how the classroom was laid out that I made. I really liked how the teacher put as many of the things as he could along the walls to create floor space. He would use the floor in front of the board to lecture some, and sometimes he would even sit here to lecture or even here. And I liked that because he was able to see all his students and interact in that way. The desk clusters, which as you can see on the student tables here, were all faced towards the projection board, and they all had little storage units that would hold things like scissors, headphones, and markers for them to use. And he would use the top of them for them to lay their assignments on, and he could just pick them up at the end of class if he needed to. His classroom management was the best I've ever seen. It was one of the most respectful and quiet classes I've ever been in. Here are his class rules. I really liked how he called them his I will statements rather than do this or don't do this, and it just made it a lot more positive. The chart in the middle is like a card pulling system, but it's used pennies that are velcroed onto this chart. If they did something they weren't supposed to, they had to move a penny over so much. This is a reward system he came up with. Anytime they got a lot of points on an app he used to keep up with points, that was a lot like Dojo, got a compliment or did any good thing he liked as a whole, he'd add a link to the chain right here. And when the chain reached the ground, they got to choose to have a party or another fun thing. And I will talk about that a little bit more. And lastly, I really like that he established this because when anyone raised their hand, he'd have an idea of what they needed before he could answer them. It was really efficient for his classroom. This was their daily schedule. It would start out with their morning routine, right in their planners, and then it would go to skills, which was just pretty much reading a story with them for language. And then knowledge, they would answer questions on a worksheet that related to the story. And then lunch activity and read aloud. I was never really there for those because I had class. And then they would go over math and science in the afternoon, and then they would have a snack and pack up their bags to go home. But I also noticed every few hours or so they would have a bathroom break, but would also have a silent time for 8 minutes around that time because of their age, I believe. And I thought this was really interesting and good for them and the teacher as well to have a bit of a recuperating time. I mostly just walked around helping with classwork when they had questions, or even just talked to them about their opinions on things in the classroom and how things I didn't get to see, such as pull-out, was for them. I even got to teach some by going over worksheets the students had done, and I greatly appreciate that opportunity my teacher gave me to do that. Something I really liked that he incorporated into his classroom was play, and that's where this picture comes in. It was my last day of observations, and before they went home for the day, he gave the students an opportunity to play with Legos or Play-Doh for a bit, and I got to just sit and visit with the students, and a girl and I made this together. It was neat being able to see cognitive, social, and physical development as the semester went on. In their classwork, I could really see the understanding of vocabulary really skyrocket over the few months, and I think this was because the teacher was always trying to explain to them what new words meant. They were kind to each other in their social interactions, but could be a bit dramatized at times, but go straight back to being fine. I could tell who were friends both inside and outside of the classroom very easily. And as I said before, the teacher liked giving them playtime instead of doing worksheets all the time. The Legos and Play-Doh thing was good because it helped develop their fine motor skills. They also didn't fidget during lessons near as much as other grades I've been around, such as kindergarten and preschool, because they had a lot longer attention span. Out of all the learning theories learned this semester, the one that I clearly saw demonstrated the most, I think, was the social constructivist theory, which is when human development is social situated and knowledge is constructed through interaction with others. The students did have group projects to learn with each other, but what really stood out to me the most in this was how the teacher made learning relatable for them by using things such as video games and superheroes in his lessons. He made it exciting for his students to be there, and he even let an option for their chain reward be playing Mario Kart against each other for an afternoon, which I got to be there for. There were 3 specific intelligences I saw him try and reach out to students with. He played his guitar and made up a song to help his students remember how to solve addition and subtraction problems. Whenever they read a story, he wouldn't ask them to just write a reflection, but draw a picture of their favorite part. And he used his smartboard a lot by letting students use use drag and drop options, and race each other in solving math problems. In conclusion, Pyron Elementary was a great school for me to observe and connect a lot of the things I have learned in the class this semester, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.